Ever since its merger, Hyliion stock has gotten investors quite shaken up. From being up in the high 50s to now being in the high 20s, it has been quite the week. It has been, somewhat of a rough break for a lot of investors, especially the ones who are somewhat new to the game. There have been a lot of new investors joining the stock world in this last year, especially with the new pandemic going on and people really wanting to start to put their money in other places. People are starting to get into these SPAC stocks and these EV stocks, and if they really don't understand what's going on, it could be a tough break and we could see a lot of investors get burnt. One question that does remain with Hyliion stock is exactly why is this big dip happening? Is it kind of, is it pretty natural? Is it something that we can expect from Hyliion a lot, to see it go up and down and take these really big volatile swings? And what exactly is going on? I have my take on it and I have my opinion on why it's doing all this. I do personally believe that this is a very natural thing, but we'll get into that in a little bit later. If you do enjoy this video and if you do enjoy this new type of videos that I've been putting out recently, just, analyzing stocks, giving news updates and certain things like that, definitely let me know by smashing that like button and dropping a comment in the comment section. If you are new to my channel and you do find my content useful or entertaining, you can let me know by subscribing. But my name is HYLLION, and in today's video we will be going over another update for Hyliion. Once again, it has been going absolutely all over the place, and what I wanted to do today is just really go over exactly how I feel about it and give my take as to what it's doing. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and let's hop straight into the video. Hyliion's merge date was on September 28th. Since then, it has just absolutely tumbled. But we've seen a very big sell-off happening recently and a lot of investors just getting out. It does beg the question, what exactly is going on? Well, it can become a little bit confusing whenever you check the news and you see all these things and there's really no bad news. It's not like something bad is happening or there's been some fraudulent case against the, the CEO that makes the CEO step down. But with that being said, no shade there, don't hate. But with that being said, it does beg the question, what exactly is happening? Now, I have my opinion on it, and my opinion is one that is shared by a lot of other YouTubers in my community. And so, I've talked to other YouTubers and I've talked to other investors, and it's generally come to the kind of understanding that this sell-off isn't really a big deal in a sense. I don't want to go ahead and say that in the sense that people aren't losing money, but I would say in the broad spectrum of things that this dip right now really isn't anything but a buying opportunity. Now, the reason I say that is, once again, there's no bad news. It's not like there's just some bad reason as to why the stock is just dipping. Once again, stocks dip. Secondly, there's been a very big drop in the overall market recently, causing the majority of stocks to have a very volatile week. But the reason that I will go ahead and say that I truly believe that this dip is happening is that because that is what happens in a time where the majority of stocks are being bought by a lot of new investors, and it's a really big time of hype. And these new investors are just trying to make a quick buck. They're not really focused on the long term as much, and there's a lot of these new investors once again, and what they're going ahead and do is they're trying to make a quick dollar as fast as they can. You see a lot of these investors get into certain stocks, especially whenever they're SPACs or whenever they have mergers, and they know that whenever a stock announces its merger, that there can be money to be made there. There's opportunity there. So what a lot of these new investors will do is they'll go ahead, they'll buy these certain stocks, and after the merger they tend to just get out because at that point the stock has hit its short-term peak. Now, we have seen that a lot of stocks have done that whenever right after the merger, they've hit their short-term peak, they're going to go back down, and maybe over the long run they'll grow, but realistically, they're more than likely going to come down really pretty soon, relatively after that IPO. Now, the reason that I don't believe that this is a big deal is because this is just what stocks do. Now, what I did is I went and looked up, just a few stocks that are pretty generally known to the wide public, and I would just talk about exactly what they've gone through and compare them in similarity to this stock, Hyliion, and them as well. So, whenever we go ahead and we take a look at certain stocks like Facebook. Facebook went public in May of 2012, and by September they had fallen a substantially high amount. Now, if you had thought that at the time that, oh my goodness, well, Facebook's not going to do well because they're having this big dip after they went public and it's just a bad thing, I need to get out, well, you'd probably be regretting that decision by now, because Facebook has clearly done very, very well since then. Now, that is just one quick example. I will go over another one that we are seeing a little bit of a more modern day happening to. Now, whenever we go ahead and take a look at Uber, when Uber was introduced to the public, since that day, they had fallen a lot. They were having a big struggle. There was really nothing really big driving them up, and it was pretty much just a floating bomb at that point. It was just seemed like it was one that's ready to go. Well, of course, Uber is a very strong company, and they're a company who is going to prevail through almost anything, and they are going to figure out ways to grow their company. Now, we are currently seeing them come out of the dip. Now, their dip lasted maybe about a year and a half, almost 2 years now. But that's really no big deal in a broad sense whenever you're trying to invest in these companies for 10 to 20 years. If you can spend a year and a half loading up on a company and for the next 10 years it grows, who's really going to complain? Now, the difference between these stocks and the stocks that I'm talking about now in Hyliion is that I don't believe that the dip that we are seeing with Hyliion is going to last as long as these other ones. The reason I say that is because the market is very different than it used to be, and there's a lot of different investors than it used to be. This market is full of investors who are a little bit younger, a little bit newer to this, and they're a little bit more confused a lot. They're a lot more emotional. So realistically, they tend to just move this market all crazy, especially along with the crazy events that 2020 has hosted. Now, with that being said, I do believe that this dip is going to be very short term. Now, very short term in the sense of maybe, I don't know, maybe a month or two, but realistically, I could see this thing starting to get past these levels that it's at within the next couple weeks. Now, of course, with elections coming up, it could be very substantial as to who it goes to, because we do know that the Democratic Party does focus a little bit more on natural fuels and all that, so that definitely could be beneficial to a stock like Hyliion. But in the same light that whenever you have other parties in office, it's really not affecting them that much. They're not putting out a whole bunch of mandates that are hurting these companies. So I do think elections could have a little bit of an effect, but I don't think that it'll be anything substantial to the point that it'll either make it or break it. It'll just be one that does cause a little short-term volatility. But if you are new to the channel, you might not know, but if you've been around for a while, I love to say that volatility brings opportunity, and opportunity is something we capitalize on this channel. But with that being said, that is what I wanted to really talk about today, is that at the end of the day, it is natural for once these these companies go public, then overall the initial hype is dead, that they start to fall. It is natural, and I don't believe that anyone should panic because of that. If you go look at some of the best stocks that went public as of recently, especially within the last 10 years, I would guarantee over 75 to 90% of them fell over the first month or two. It is just what it is, especially in a market that's so hyped now and so extreme. It's like, in our market now, if you fall a little bit, you're falling a lot. It's not like in the old market where a red day was like negative 0.5%. No, a red day nowadays is 4 or 5%, 4 to 5 to 6%. It is all over the place, and that is being demonstrated in stocks such as Hyliion, especially when they're new, fresh, they have a small market cap, and they're very volatile. So once again, I don't believe that anyone should be stressing. If you are an investor in Hyliion, I wouldn't personally recommend just selling your stocks because of the dip. I'm taking this advantage to go ahead and buy more, and that is what I'm going to continue to do, because I do believe that in the long run, they have a lot of prospects and aspects to their company that are going to drive their growth through the roof. They have an absolutely phenomenal company. Their management is amazing. They're doing really good things. You can't really hear much bad news about them. And with all that being said, I just truly believe that this is a buy of a lifetime right now. Now, if I get burned on this in the next 5 or 6 years, I'll call my wrongs there and I'll learn my lesson and move on. But until then, I'm going to be representing Hyliion all day. It's one stock that I absolutely love talking about. I love keeping up to date with, and I hope you guys do continue to enjoy watching these videos as I do make them. But that'll be it for today. You should probably expect more Hyliion videos coming soon. You guys seem to love them, and I love making them. I'm having an absolutely amazing time, and this YouTube thing is really starting to kick it off. We're getting pretty close to 1,000 subscribers now, so hopefully when that day does come, maybe we'll do a little giveaway. Maybe I'll give someone enough money to, maybe buy their own Hyliion stock. Who knows? But until then, I'll be trying to post 4 to 5 videos every single week. So I hope to see you guys soon. Once again, if you did enjoy this video and you did find it entertaining or useful, you can let me know by subscribing down below. But with all that being said, and now that I am officially out of breath, I will see you guys next time. Peace.